venue of the India Today Mumbai conclave. We're getting set to bring to you action-packed conversations all through tomorrow and day after all across the India Today network. On the show this evening, we look at the big debate on the caste census. Prime Minister Modi hitting out today strongly against the opposition's demand for a caste census, saying this is an attempt to divide the community. Will the caste census provide a brahmastra to the opposition, or will this get nullified by the BJP's pitch for nationalism, patriotism and Hindutva? We look at that in detail on this edition of the Newstrack.
जातीय जनगणना हो जाएगी तो सबका सेटिस्फैक्शन होगा, ये जान लीजिए.
Caste census storm rages.
भारत माता की.
Prime Minister's big caste counter.
పసుపు రైతులందరూ కూడా
Accuses Congress of dividing Hindus.
कांग्रेस किसी भी कीमत पर देश के हिंदुओं को बांटकर भारत को तबाह कर देना चाहती है.
Identity politics reignites.
ऐतिहासिक काम जो है हम लोगों ने किया है, जारी भी किया है.
Will caste count in 2024? Big focus on Newstrack.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi came out all guns blazing against the Congress's demand for a national caste census, saying the Congress party and the India Alliance are trying to split Hindus, and in fact the only caste that the BJP understands is the caste of poverty, wanting to give benefits basis your economic status rather than continuing to divide society. The opposition, though, is looking to up the ante on the demand for a caste census after the caste survey in Bihar, demanding that this be done nationally. In fact, several of the allies of the BJP too have come out in support of the demand for a national caste census. Here's how politics played out on this big explosive issue.
As the caste census storm rages on, the Prime Minister has launched a fierce attack.
कल से कांग्रेस ने एक अलग लाभ आरोपना शुरू कर दिया है. ये कांग्रेस के नेता कहते हैं जितनी आबादी उतना हक. मैं कहता हूं इस देश में अगर सबसे बड़ी कोई आबादी है तो वो आबादी गरीब है, और इसलिए मेरे लिए गरीब ही सबसे बड़ी आबादी है और गरीब का कल्याण यही मेरा मकसद है.
In poll-bound Chhattisgarh, Prime Minister Modi hit out at the Congress, accusing it of trying to divide Hindus.
कांग्रेस किसी भी कीमत पर देश के हिंदुओं को बांटकर भारत को तबाह कर देना चाहती है. कांग्रेस गरीबों को बांटना चाहती है. पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री मनमोहन सिंह जी क्या सोच रहे होंगे? भारत के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री मनमोहन सिंह जी तो कहा करते थे कि देश के संसाधनों पर पहला हक माइनॉरिटी का है, अल्पसंख्यकों का है, और उसमें भी मुसलमानों का है. अब कांग्रेस कह रही है कि आबादी तय करेगी कि पहला हक किसका होगा. यानी क्या अब अल्पसंख्यकों का हक कांग्रेस कम करना चाहती है क्या? और आबादी के ही हिसाब से ही अब तय होने वाला है, तो पहला हक किसका होगा भाई? किसका होगा? आबादी किसकी ज्यादा है? किसका हक होगा? जरा कांग्रेस वाले स्पष्टता करें. क्या आबादी के हिसाब से हक मिलेगा क्या? तो क्या अल्पसंख्यकों को कांग्रेस हटाना चाहती है क्या? तो क्या सबसे बड़ी आबादी वाले हिंदू अब आगे बढ़कर अपने सारे हक ले लें क्या?
The Prime Minister's caste counter comes a day after Bihar released its caste survey, which revealed that OBCs, an extremely backward caste, make 63% of the state's population. The opposition India bloc is now demanding a nationwide caste census.
जात में है जनगणना एकदा करा जातीय लोकप्रिय तुषार जातीचे तो म्हणजे एकदा लोकांना कळून द्या आणि ते शिक्षण पुढे ठेवल्याच्या नंतर जो सगळ्यात दुर्बळ आहे त्याच्यासाठी या देशाची राज्याची सत्ता आणि शक्ती वापरची परिस्थिती करा आज याची खऱ्या अर्थाने आवश्यकता आहे.
जाति जनगणना की के आंकड़े बिहार ने देखे केंद्र सरकार को आईना दिखा दिया है कि जब एक राज्य की सरकार सीमित संसाधनों से कर सकती है तो केंद्र की सरकार क्यों नहीं करना चाहती. केंद्र की सरकार केवल एक परसेप्शन बना के कभी पिछड़ों को अति पिछड़ों से लड़ाना, कभी दलित को पिछड़े से लड़ाना, कभी अगले को पिछड़े से लड़ाना, कभी हिंदू से मुसलमान को लड़ाना, इस भ्रम जाल में जनता को क्यों फंसाए रखना चाहते हैं.
आपस में कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी इनके है ना, यही कारण पूरा देश पूरा प्रदेश भुगत रहा है कि पूरे देश के अंदर आप उठाकर देखिए बंटवारे की स्थिति और पूरे प्रदेश के अंदर आप उठाकर देखेंगे कानून व्यवस्था ध्वस्त हो जाएगी.
It is clear that caste will count on the road to 2024, and both the BJP and the opposition are looking to build the backward bastion.
Sources have told India Today that the BJP will be launching an aggressive counter to the opposition's caste census demand. Suggestions made in the Justice Rohini Committee report on the subcategorization of OBCs could be implemented, and the BJP will be banking heavily on the plank of Hindutva.
The Mandal versus Kamandal politics is back. The Bihar caste survey has added a new dimension to India's identity politics. With Paulami Saha in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
So what's the most likely political outcome now that the Bihar caste survey is out? How could this impact the big battle for 2024? Does this provide the opposition with ammunition to try and tear apart the BJP's Hindutva rainbow? To talk about this from differing perspectives, I'm joined on the show by Guru Prakash Paswan, national spokesperson of the BJP. With us from Nitish Kumar's party is KC Tyagi, senior leader of the Janata Dal United. Also with us, national spokesperson of the Congress party, Dr. Ajay Kumar. With us for a cephalogical perspective, two leading cephologists, Pradeep Gupta, who heads Access My India, Yashwant Deshmukh from C Voter. Ultimately, it's about how this impacts vote banks building up to April, May next year. And for a social perspective, we're joined by Badri Narayan, professor at the Govind Ballabh Pant Social Science Institute in Allahabad. I want to go across to Guru Prakash Paswan first, because the BJP in Bihar seems to be in support of the caste census. We saw BJP leaders had come to Delhi when Nitish Kumar came with this demand. They were part of the all-party meeting today. At the center, though, we've seen from the Prime Minister in his big rally earlier today, he made the announcement that this is an attempt to tear apart Indian society, and he seems to be opposing it. So where really does the BJP come out? Are we going to listen to what the Prime Minister is saying? Why is it that the Bihar BJP seems to have a different line on this?
Rahulji, a very warm good evening to you and all my fellow senior panelists. We need to understand a couple of things first. So you mentioned about Bihar being in support of the caste census. We definitely are. But the fact of the matter is, it's a question of commitment. What is the level of your commitment? Rahulji, all of us are aware, India is aware that for the first time in our history, in the last 75 years, we have a woman from the tribal community reaching the highest constitutional office. You need commitment. You don't need rhetoric. You need actual representation. You don't need rhetoric. There is a very popular saying in Bihar, जब बारात आने का वक्त होगा तब कोहड़ा रोपेंगे. When the barat is about to come, only then we'll prepare for dinner. Survey aayega, report aayega, only then we will work towards representation. This is preposterous. This is simply without any logic, without any reality. Second thing, Rahulji, we must understand.
You aren't answering my question. My question is very simple. Will the BJP nationally back Nitish Kumar's demand for a caste census? That's the question. That's the question you need to answer. Do you back the demand for a caste census?
No. Rahulji, you tell me one thing. You have taken the country to the edge of caste wars. Who said it? It was Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. September 6, 1990. As far as we are concerned, our commitment, we don't need any certificate from a Mr. Nitish Kumar or from anyone for that matter. Social justice or Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas is a matter of commitment for each one of us. Today, if you do a sociological analysis, more than 35% of the Union Council of Ministers come from the OBC. It's a rhetoric. It's a diversionary technique which the opposition parties are indulging in. The India Alliance, they are bereft of, they are devoid of any concrete, any constructive agenda. What we have actually done is 35% representation for the OBCs in the Union Council of Ministry, a scheduled tribe.
No, sure. So you're saying you're all for social empowerment, but I'll ask you the question the third time on the specific issue of a caste census nationally. Does the BJP support that there should be a caste census nationally or not? Just answer this question. Of course, given the number of OBCs, given the number of tickets you give to OBCs, you are trying to do what you can for the backward classes. But do you back the caste census or not? Just this question, sir.
No. You see, Rahul ji, different state has different preferences, different states have different orientation. So we have to understand that you need to look beyond this question or this issue beyond the binaries of yes or no. What is the level of commitment? I have to say this very categorically on your show tonight. Mr. Nitish Kumar's party is a party of one man and one caste. You have been following politics very closely, Rahul ji, and I am aware of the fact Mr. Nitish Kumar's party JDU is identified with one caste, which is the Kurmi caste. Mr. Lalu Yadav's party, Rashtriya Janata, last 10 seconds. Mr. Lalu Yadav's party, Rashtriya Janata Dal, is identified with one family and one caste. So it is the question, the ball is in their court. They have to answer. For us, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas is a matter of commitment and not a matter of politics and not a matter of rhetoric.
Okay.
And you need to look beyond binaries when it comes to social justice. Social justice
I
cannot
asked
be
the
just
same
rhetoric.
question thrice over. The BJP spokesperson talking about their commitment to social empowerment but not answering the specific question of whether they will be able to push the idea of a caste census nationally or not. In fact, the BJP very clearly seems to be opposed to the idea because they're making the point that they want to push for Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and this is an attempt which segregates, breaks up society rather than join society. So I want to go across to Pradeep Gupta on the electoral potency of the idea. The BJP is in a bind. They can't come out clearly and say, no, we don't want the caste census. Instead, they're choosing to say that this will divide society, make people more conscious of their caste. We want to rise above caste. But politically, we've seen through the Mandal agitation, caste is a formidable political weapon. By pushing the idea of a caste census, does it put pressure now on the BJP to take a more pro-caste census line? How do you see this, Pradeep Gupta, play out politically?
राहुल, आई वुड से इन वन सेंटेंस कि तोप तो बहुत भारी है लेकिन उसमें बारूद नहीं है। उसका कारण ये है कि जो कास्ट सेंसस है, जब तक उसका लाभ जनता तक ना पहुंचे उसके कोई मायने नहीं। एंड आई एम सेइंग फ्रॉम अ टू डिफरेंट एंगल। वन इज दैट द गवर्नेंस एंड सेकंड इज द रिजर्वेशन फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर कास्ट ग्रुप। As far as the governance go, it is very, very impractical to implement this caste census in true sense, by which you can govern or do the supply kind of a road, electricity, water, health, education, PDS. आप जातिगत आधार पर ये कैसे कर सकते हैं? तो सरकार में चाहे आज बीजेपी हो या कोई भी हो, किसी के लिए भी ये बहुत टेढ़ी खीर है कि आप कास्ट के बेसिस पे कोई भी सरकारी सुविधाओं का लाभ जनता तक पहुंचा सके। वो एक बात। दूसरी, कानून की बात, आरक्षण की बात है तो उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट की सीलिंग है 50% से ज्यादा आप कास्ट आरक्षण दे नहीं सकते। तो ये एक बात हो गई। दूसरी बात, आज तक हिंदुस्तान में इतिहास गवाह है, हिस्ट्री सजेस्ट दैट from VP Singh to Bihar 2015, Mohan Bhagwat ji said about the Arakshan, to Himachal Pradesh where Hetty community को ट्राइबल स्टेटस दिया बीजेपी राज्य सरकार ने, to कर्नाटक where मुसलमान का आरक्षण खत्म करके राज्य सरकार ने वोकालिगा लिंगायत को आरक्षण देने की कोशिश की, to मणिपुर। व्हाट इज मणिपुर बर्निंग ऑल अबाउट? बिकॉज मेटी समाज को कोर्ट ने कहा इनको आदिवासी का स्टेटस दिया। ऑल दीज प्लेसेस, whoever has done it has lost very badly in the coming future election. So this is the political side of it. Now coming to the other side of it, which is, Marathas in Maharashtra, Gurjar and Jat in Western UP and also in Rajasthan, Gurjar in Rajasthan. All these caste groups are anyway fighting. So whoever is in the governance, they will try to avoid this kind of situation. It's like मधुमक्खी के छत्ते में हाथ डालने वाली बात. So I would say कि इससे it's a counter attack by the trying to by the opposition party, because आप देखिए सबसे अभी राजनीतिक बैटलफील्ड इज देयर. सो सब लोग अपना अपना जोर आजमाइश कर रहे हैं. पहले इंडिया बनाया 22 पार्टी, फिर 26 पार्टी, एनडीए ने 28 कर दी, फिर महिला आरक्षण आया, फिर महिला आरक्षण भी 50% की बात कर रहे हैं सरकार में बीजेपी. उसको काउंटर करने की ये कोशिश है, बट कोशिश क्या है, जमीन पे ये इम्प्लीमेंट हो पाना.
Oh, sure. So this is a battle of chess and everyone's playing their boards on the pieces. The question is who can set up the game in a way that they can do a checkmate. Yashwant Deshmukh, in the 80s and the 90s, the Mandal agitation for reservation was the most potent political agitation. It even beat Hindutva soon after the demolition of the Babri Masjid at the disputed structure in Ayodhya. So it has massive electoral potency in the past. How do you assess the electoral potency of the caste census and this demand that is being made by the India Alliance at this moment?
Well, Rahul, this is a question of Mandal 1.0 and Mandal 2.0, and there is a very, very important academic aspect to it as well. There is a series of tweets on research done by my colleague and friend in IIM Ahmedabad, Tumbe, that explains that he has compared the 1931 caste census in Bihar with the current findings which have come out. And what he found was very, very interesting, that barring the 5% loss of general caste, all other caste groups have been more or less in the same line, which they found in 1931. Muslim proportion has gone up by 3%, which is, in any case, if there would have been 21 sample census, that would have come out. And this lack of or 5% loss of general caste group in the population size is directly attributed to the migration pattern, on which much has been written and much has been said about. So, bigger question was there anything new, surprising that came out of the caste census in Bihar? The big resounding answer is no. So, if there was nothing new that came out of that, probably the question arises is that within the reservation and the reservation, the question is not if certain caste groups' population or proportion has gone up or gone down. Question is different caste groups are trying or saying or asking that we should be treated as OBC, or we should be treated as a scheduled tribe, or we should be treated as a scheduled caste. So the idea that this caste census is going to throw some huge surprises around that, it is not going to happen, because whatever the migration pattern that we have seen in the 75 years in this country, they largely are from the UP and Eastern UP and Bihar, Jharkhand territory. That has been the largely. Otherwise, majority of the migration patterns are visible within the state. There is a sense of urbanization, but the proportion of the population of different caste group, that is unlikely to change even if you do this exercise on all India basis. So yes,
and also remember in 1931 when the British did the caste census, at that time Jharkhand and Odisha were part of the erstwhile Bihar state. So now you've got a separate state of Jharkhand. So that does impact the percentage of each community to some extent. I want to go across to KC Tyagi. Okay, KC Tyagi, we heard from the Prime Minister, he says this is an attempt to divide Hindu society. This is an attempt, हिंदुओं को बांटने की कोशिश है. That the Prime Minister is trying to unite everyone. Because you're out of ideas, you're trying to make people more aware of their caste identity by trying to split and fragment this country into caste groups. How do you respond to that criticism, KC Tyagi?
राहुल जी, प्रधानमंत्री ने स्वयं स्वीकार किया है कि वो पिछड़ी जाति के हैं, इसलिए उनका अपमान होता है, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, बिहार में उन्होंने कहा कि वो दिन चले गए जब भारतीय जनता पार्टी कुछ जातियों की, खास जातियों की पार्टी हुआ करती थी। अब ये पिछड़ों की है, अति पिछड़ों की है, दलितों की है, महादलितों की है। अभी मेरे मित्र पासवान जी कह रहे थे कि हमारे इतने % पिछड़ी जाति के MP हैं, इतने पिछड़ी जाति के मिनिस्टर्स हैं। जो शेड्यूल कास्ट और शेड्यूल ट्राइब का जो आरक्षण है वो क्या आर्थिक आधार पे हुआ है कि जाति के आधार पे हुआ है? मंडल कमीशन को जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट से मान्यता मिली है वो इकोनॉमिकली बैकवर्ड के नाम पे मिली है, सोशली और एजुकेशनली बैकवर्ड के नाम पे मिली है। तो ये जो पूरा सीन है उसको जो बदलने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। और आप बहुत सही कह रहे हैं राहुल जी, बीजेपी और इंडिया लेवल पे भी जब पिछड़ों की वकालत करते हैं प्रधानमंत्री तब तो ये कास्ट होती है, अदरवाइज जब हम करते हैं तो ये पुअर बट जाता। तो पुअर तो बटा हुआ है ही है, बिटवीन अपर कास्ट, बिटवीन बैकवर्ड कास्ट, बिटवीन शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट। 1931 के सर्वे में बैकवर्ड की आबादी 52% थी मंडल के मुताबिक, अब ये 63% निकली है। और मैं बहुत अम्बली कहना चाहता हूँ अपने मित्र पासवान जी से, पासवान जी आप अकेले पड़ गए हैं। आपके दोनों फैक्शन LGP के जातिगत जनगणना सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, आपकी माझी जी जातिगत जनगणना सपोर्ट कर रही है, आपकी मल्लाह पार्टी जातिगत जनगणना सपोर्ट कर रही है, उपेंद्र कुशवाहा इसको सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। अब आ जाइए महाराष्ट्र में, महाराष्ट्र की तीनों पार्टी अटावली, शिंदे गुट और अजित पवार गुट, इन तीनों के बयान आ चुके हैं। अब यूपी में आ जाइए, अपना दल, राजभर की पार्टी, निषाद पार्टी, उन्होंने कहा हम जातिगत जनगणना के पक्ष में हैं। असल में दिक्कत क्या होगी है कि नीतीश कुमार के इस घटनाक्रम के बाद बहुत ज़्यादा बौखलाहट जो है भारतीय जनता पार्टी में है। और दूसरा पॉइंट और मैं कहना चाहता हूँ खाली जात का नहीं है, इसमें मकान, दुकान, जमीन, शिक्षा, नौकरी, कृषि, दस्तकारी के भी आंकड़े उपलब्ध कराए गए हैं। हम अमृतकाल मना रहे हैं, 75 साल आज़ादी के हो गए, कल गांधी जयंती थी। समूचा देश जानना चाहता है कि 75 साल के बाद भी क्या कुछ ऐसे समूह विकास की धारा में पीछे रह गए हैं, वो आइडेंटिफाई होने चाहिए। नंबर 1, अगर रह गए हैं तो स्पेशल विशेष अवसर के सिद्धांत के आधार पर उनको भी एम्पावरमेंट किया जाना चाहिए। जब ये बात उठती है तो शुरू में तो इनकी पार्टी हमारे साथ थी। नीतीश कुमार सरकार ने जब ये प्रस्ताव किया है राहुल जी, उस समय डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर हमारे मित्र सुशील मोदी जी थे और वो आज भी इसका सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। असल में बीजेपी की जो बिहार की है वो भी जाति के आधार पर बट गई है। जो पिछड़ी जाति के नेता हैं वो समर्थन कर रहे हैं और गिरिराज सिंह सरीखे लोग हमारी मदद कर रहे हैं इसका विरोध करके। मैं अगले पॉइंट पर आना चाहता हूं।
Okay, let Guru Prakash Paswan respond to what you're saying about the fact that many BJP allies are also demanding that there be a caste census. You failed to mention Apna Dal in eastern Uttar Pradesh, all the smaller parties in Bihar, parties in Maharashtra, they're in fact demanding that they're supporting Nitish Kumar and wanting that there be a caste census, Mr. Paswan.
राहुल जी, जितना समय आपने अनइंटरप्टेड वरिष्ठ नेता और हम सबके गार्जियन केसी त्यागी जी को दिया है, मैं आशा और अपेक्षा करता हूं आप मुझे भी अनइंटरप्टेड उतना समय देंगे। देखिए, लगातार ये भ्रम फैलाया जा रहा है। मैं सुन रहा था केसी त्यागी जी की बातों को, ना 9 मन तेल होगा, ना 9 मन तेल होगा, ना राधा नाचेगी। आज तक आपने क्या किया है? आज तक आपने कुर्मी जाति के अलावा या नीतीश जी ने अपने अलावा किसी और को आगे बढ़ाया है? नीतीश जी की पार्टी में जो भी व्यक्ति राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष बना है उस सभी व्यक्तियों को धोखा देने का काम नीतीश जी ने किया है। शरद यादव जी हो, जॉर्ज फर्नांडिस जी हो, RCP सिंह जी हो, ये फहरिस्त है मेरे पास। तो नीतीश जी आज पिछड़ों के अगुआ बन गए हैं। नीतीश जी हैज सडनली बिकम द वॉइस ऑफ द मार्जिनलाइज्ड। दिस हैज टू बी द बिगेस्ट सरप्राइज ऑफ द सेंचुरी। लालू यादव जी पे आइए। Lalu Yadav ji, when it comes to power sharing, Rahul, we must understand, when it actually boils down to sharing of power, who would become the Deputy Chief Minister? Mr. Tejasvi Prasad Yadav. Who would become the Environment Minister? Tej Pratap Yadav. Who would go to Rajya Sabha? My daughter Misa Bharti. Who would go to Legislative Council? My wife.
But you aren't really answering my question. My question was about all the allies of the BJP which are also demanding that there be a caste census. Paswan ji, you are replying the way you want without answering the question that you've been asked. Tyagi ji's point was that most BJP allies are in support of the caste census. How do you respond to this?
All, not all the allies, all the allies.
नहीं, देखिए राहुल जी राहुल जी जो जवाब आपको पसंद आए वो जवाब क्वालिफाई करेगा और जो जवाब आपको पसंद ना हो वो क्वालिफाई ना करे, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है। मैं स्पष्ट कर देना चाहता हूं, एनडीए इज नॉट इंडिया अलायंस। पीपल आर फ्री टू हैव देयर ओन ओपिनियन, सबको अपनी राय रखने का अधिकार है। लेकिन जहां तक हमारा विषय है, बिहार की बीजेपी यूनिट को लगा कि जातिगत जनगणना करना चाहिए, वी वेंट अहेड। एज फार एज नेशनली द क्वेश्चन ऑफ कास्ट सेंसस इज कंसर्न, आई एम श्योर द टॉप लीडरशिप वुड सिट एंड डू इट, बट वी हैव टू मेक दिस सफिशिएंटली क्लियर। ये कोई कमिटमेंट है, ये इट्स अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ मापदंड, ये कोई मापदंड नहीं होना चाहिए। आपने कितना किया है, हमने कितना किया है। राहुल जी, वी हैव a history of commitment. Vinay Katiyar, Uma Bharti,
On that note, I want to go across to Ajay Kumar from the Congress party. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you in a moment, Mr. Paswan.
Please.
Now, Dr. Ajay Kumar.
Please, Rahul ji. Please, Rahul ji, मेरी बात खत्म नहीं हुई है.
Okay, 10 seconds. सर 1 सेकंड मेरे को अजय कुमार जी का भी जाना है।
राहुल जी, मेरी बात आपने बीच में काट दी थी। मेरे मित्र पासवान जी को आपने बोलने का मौका दिया, वो मेरे एक भी सवाल का जवाब नहीं दे पाए।
अच्छा त्यागी जी बोलिए, 10 सेकंड बोलिए, चलिए।
को 22 नीतीश कुमार जी की पार्टी को 20-21% वोट मिली हैं, जबकि कुर्मी वहां पर 2% हैं। तो एक इसके अलावा आप एक अलाई का नाम बताइए जो आपको सपोर्ट कर रहा हो। दिस इज द इशू ऑफ द पॉलिटिकल कमिटमेंट। एवरी पार्टी ऑफ एनडीए इज अपोज्ड टू यू, दे आर इन फेवर ऑफ।
Okay, let me go across now to Ajay Kumar. I think I've heard everyone enough. I'll come back to both of you in just a moment. Ajay Kumar ji, you are getting drowned out in this battle between the BJP and the JDU. But my question is this: when the Congress was in opposition in 2000, when the Congress was in government in 2011, and the survey was done, there were questions on caste. You didn't make that public because anybody who's in government thinks, you know, making caste details public really opens a Pandora's box. It's very difficult then to handle the fallout. There are all kinds of competing demands from special groups and communities, which are very difficult for everyone in government to handle. Would you accept that you're basically doing this as an act of rank political opportunism because it provides you with what you think is a potent weapon to target the Modi government's Hindutva and nationalism plank?
So, Rahul, you need to give me 3 minutes because I've just been listening for 25 odd minutes without any interruption, and I'm not getting drowned out by JDU or BJP. I think you didn't give me a chance to speak in between. Now, the issue is, first of all, Mr. Gandhi has clearly said we made a mistake. All right? The time is India demands the caste census. Now, let me go one by one, and you need to pay attention to what I'm saying. It's for Pradeep, and it's for Yashwant, and it's for Guru Prakash ji. Tyagi ji is very well informed on this. I don't think he needs it. The RSS will never allow the caste census. That's where the problem is. Because it is led by a group of people who won't even have women as members, whose fundamental philosophy belongs to the philosophy to continue with the old system of caste supremacy. The RSS won't allow it. So the first point. So the RSS, which is the actual BJP, will not allow it, and let whether it's Pradeep, whether it's Yashwant, whether it's everybody else, Guru Prakash, you like it or not, this is a fact. The second issue is Mr. Pradeep Gupta coming to Guru Prakash saying we gave OBC ministers and MPs. You gave it because of political expediency. You never give a Muslim a candidate because this is not winnable. You don't give an SC candidate and non-SC seats because it's non-winnable. So suddenly saying the OBC is a majority population, they win your Lok Sabhas, and that's why you get them seats, you're not doing any favor. The third issue, the Mandal 1, according to Yashwant, brought tectonic. He says there was no tectonic shift. There was tectonic shift in the Indian political space. And there will be a tectonic shift in the Mandal 2. The fourth point, does anybody remember 1931 census and nothing has happened? Today, for the first time, the country is talking that the EBCs are 37%, that the SCs are 19% in Bihar, and the tribals, by the way, in Bihar are only 1.7% because most of the tribals went to Jharkhand. So the issue is that what is the reality everybody in India knows and then realizes. Look at TV anchors, no SC, no ST, no 100 CEOs of companies, no SC, ST. No OBC by and large, at least extremely backward. Look at secretaries of the government of India, nobody. Look at the Director General of Police, nobody. And those questions which people need to ask. And if not, what is wrong? Fourth point, you said that Mr. Pradeep Gupta said delivery is difficult. That is again a fallacy. I was a civil servant and a member of parliament. There is SC sub-plan. And ST sub-plan which the Bharatiya Janata Party, again anti-casteist, removed it. The SC sub-plan ensures that the budget is there for the scheduled caste people only, or the scheduled tribe. So the budget has provisions to directly benefit people, and it is not difficult. It has been done in India and before. So the most important point is whether it's not mighty. It is the issue of people saying, do I have the opportunity in the structure of this country? Now you're coming to Mr. Gupta says that it is beyond 50%. The Supreme Court said 10% economic weaker section reservation, sir. 50 plus 10, 10%. General category is 15% in Bihar. You have 10% reservation. All Changasi, 15% of the population gets 10% reservation. None of the people on this panel have made a single comment. That is okay, by the way. But everything else seems to not be kosher. Those are
so what are you proposing? Are you planning to extend reservation to 85%? 85% of the Hindu community is either SC, ST, OBC or EBC. What is your plan? बताओ ना, अगर चलो आपने कर दिया उसके बाद करोगे क्या? Answer that question. Because you're in opposition, it's very easy to say the kind of things you're doing. Will you increase reservation to 85%?
One sec. First, get the facts straight. Now let me answer you the question. The question again is, let's take an example of class 1 officers in Government of India. OBC reservation 27%, total 11%. Government of India data. SC officers, class 1 of India reservation 15%, total representation 8%. Tribal representation, Government of India ST officers 7%, total representation 2%. This is their data, not mine. My question is, why is it happening is first step. And to actively pursue, you pursued it in reservation in the parliament. You got SC representatives. You got ST representatives. You will have to bring interventions. Let's take medical education reservation. And when you say what has Congress done? Congress bought OBC reservation and educational institute through Arjun Singh in 2006. And we will look at ways to intervene. Those are methods, but the fact is that you start looking at this data. And then you realize that now you will make, in your budget, you'll start budgeting. You'll start budgeting for the weaker community. You'll budget for the women also. There was a provision for gender budgeting which has been thrown out of the window of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Please do a TV show on gender budgeting. We will bring, like Mr. Gandhi, like the India Alliance is saying, one second. And
let me put that question to Badri Narayan at the Govind Ballabh. Okay, wait. Okay.
Only 5 seconds. Only 5 seconds.
राहुल जी जवाब देना चाहता हूं.
I repeatedly said, if anyone in the one second, let me complete, sir. If anyone in this panel would understand the reality of what's happening on the ground, Pradeep and Yashwant are well informed. There is a huge amount of deprivation, which Mr. Tyagi correctly said. Representation, OBC women in the women reservation bill. It is critically important. When the panchayats have reservation for OBC and SCs and STs for women.
So Badri Narayan, here is the nub of this argument. If you know each of the castes and the communities and the percentages as of today, not as of 1931, then when you're doing budgeting, you're allocating funds for different schemes, you can allocate keeping representation and numbers in mind. And given the fact that so many schemes are actually targeted at certain communities but don't have a proper head count, that makes it a little uncertain in terms of whether the money is being well utilized. Is this going to help governance, or do you think this is just opening up a Pandora's box?
I think, Rahul, first of all, I would like to say our opposition parties and those who are arguing for caste identity-based politics of representation, they are making a lot of expectation from caste census. You know, caste census sometimes homogenize, but sometimes also fragments. You know, during the colonial time when caste census was implemented, there was a lot of quarrels, a lot of fights within each other for the same community of the same status were quarreling against each other. So those who are expecting that OBC may emerge as a one-vote bloc because of this caste census may also miss that they may create a multiple fragmentations. OBC within ABC, numbers has a fear. Number also create fears. Due to the fear of the number, maybe the lower rank of the society and upper rank society may come together. And also number has a attraction. Everyone can claim about the number. I am 3%, you are 2%. I am 14%, you are 13%. So I need more. So that kind of divisive situation will emerge. And thirdly, the question about the distribution of resources, which you talk, mostly these communities of the EBCs, they have not yet acquired capacity to aspire and acquire. So they are not able to compete in the sphere of reservation. So things are not reaching to them. It's a moral questions, and no one is asking these questions in Indian politics, that who are going to talk about them? They are EBC. We will get reservation on their name. But who will distribute the resources to them? And fourthly, what Narendra Modi has proposed, that the Garib, the whole notion of Garib and beneficiary, which is going to commit the distribution of resources at horizontal level. There are two levels. This caste-based identity reservation politics distribute the resources vertically, not horizontally. So these new methods, which the way Narendra Modi is defining social justice in a new way, is trying to approach this horizontal ways of distributing social resources, budgeting. That's why Garib and beneficiary matters a lot. And that may be a big instrument in the hand of BJP to counter this kind of caste polarizations.
No, but that's an important point you make, Badri Narayanji, and I want to put that question to KC Tyagi, because the Prime Minister's idea that if you are Garib, if you are poor, then you should get a benefit of a particular government scheme regardless of your caste. That would seem to most people watching this broadcast at this time the more equitable, contemporary way of providing benefit rather than going just by caste, because amongst the Yadavs, amongst the EBCs, there are many who are rich. They don't need reservation. If you are poor and you are classified as poor, you get a government benefit. Nobody will grudge you that.
राहुल जी, डॉक्टर अंबेडकर की किताब दिखाना चाहता हूं मैं अपने मित्र बद्री नारायण जी को, जिनके प्रयासों से कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली में सोशली और एजुकेशनली जो बैकवर्ड लोग हैं उनको आरक्षण मिलेगा. पूना पैक्ट भी, ये बहुत विद्वान आदमी, में ज़्यादा आर्गुमेंट नहीं करता, ये जात के आधार पर क्यों आरक्षण हुआ. आपने 1947 में 52 में आपने आर्थिक आधार पर क्यों नहीं आरक्षण होने दिया. जब ये संविधान के निर्माताओं ने तय किया तब आप कहाँ थे, तब ये आवाज़ कहाँ थी. ये बहस तो चली थी कि आर्थिक आधार पर होना चाहिए, इकोनॉमिक क्राइटेरिया होना चाहिए, लेकिन डॉक्टर अंबेडकर, महात्मा गांधी, जवाहरलाल नेहरू, सरदार पटेल,
इंडिया अलग था, ये इंडिया अलग है. उस टाइम पे लोअर कास्ट कम्युनिटीज की इतनी एम्पावरमेंट नहीं थी. आज की तारीख में एम्पावरमेंट ज्यादा है. राहुल जी
उसी पा रहा हूं मैं. 1992 में सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि मंडल कमीशन की सिफारिशें कास्ट के आधार पर बिल्कुल ठीक है. नंबर 3, राहुल जी, मैं चाहता हूं कि 2017 में जो सरकार ने जस्टिस रोहिणी कमीशन बनाया है, जिसका 13 बार एक्सटेंशन हो चुका है, और जिसकी रिपोर्ट है कि 1000 पिछड़ी जातियां ऐसी हैं जिनका एक भी आदमी सरकारी नौकरी में नहीं आया है. मैं चाहता हूं कि अगर सरकार का कमिटमेंट है इन वीकर सेक्शंस के लिए, तो रिकमेंडेशंस ऑफ द रोहिणी कमीशन मस्ट गेट पब्लिश्ड इन 1 day or 2. तो जो ताकतवर पिछड़ी जातियां
अजय कुमार, respond to Badri Narayanji's point that benefits given on the basis of your economic status are a far more equitable way of distribution of government benefits rather than giving it basis your caste. Caste is what you are born into. Many people in backward castes are also very affluent over the years.
I want to say one thing, Rahul.
I'm amazed that Mr.
Rahul, can I?
Because
Ajay Kumar.
Let me complete. I'm amazed Mr. Badrinaran said that. Caste and economic status is by and large 99% mirroring. All the people who want to continuously get rid of reservation continues to say that. Mr. Guru Prakash ji, I hope you defend it. Whether if you're a scheduled caste or a backward or a scheduled tribe, you are distinguished by the origin of your caste. And if you go to the slums of Delhi, the caste census of Bihar will be identical. So we continue to say that. The second point which Mr. Badri Narayan said, the poor people, what OBC community 2%, 3%, scheduled caste have got 30, 40, 50, 100 castes. Ravidas, Valmiki. They are all scheduled castes, sir. The tribals are Bhil, Gond, Santal. They are all tribals, sir. They all backwards. Yadav, Kurmi, Nai, Teli, Prajapati. They are all backwards. They may be extreme backwards, sir. Do you look at scheduled caste and say कि तुम रविदास हो, तुम वाल्मीकि हो, तुम पासवान हो? No, sir. Same thing with tribal. You don't say you're Gond, you're a Meena, you're a Bin. You say I'm a tribal. And that is why when we sit in this TV studio, and I don't know whether I am totally disconnected what the people are saying on it, but at least from where I come from, the state I come from, the places I travel, it is very saddening when people say that the economic, because go to Delhi slum, Rahul, and do a census. It will reflect the UP, Bihar caste census. And then we should ask this honorable panel, the question is,
okay, Badri Narayanji wants to make a quick counter. I have only 4 minutes left. I want to get a quick word in from everyone. I'll start with Badri Narayanji, that, you know, while you can be privileged sitting in an air-conditioned studio on India Today television speaking in English, the world looks very different from how it looks if you're living in a slum in Delhi or if you're in the back of beyond of Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Jharkhand and some of the poorer parts of the country. Badri Narayan.
Yeah, may I say something? Rahul, I can say something? I would like to say, Rahul,
yes, Badriji.
Two things. One thing what Kashi Tyagi ji was showing me, the book of the Ambedkar. Ambedkar himself said that there are brothers, Dalit brothers, they are not distributing, they are not transferring their benefits to their own brothers. They are not distributing the resources, allowing the resources to go to their own brothers. This is the statement of the Ambedkar also. He observed that there is a group emerged and going to emerge, and there is a possibility to emerge who can work as a capillary holes and suck the benefits of others. So we need to raise a moral question, and I think JDU should raise this moral question. And secondly, I would like to say what Ajay was saying. That see, I'm not saying that there are multiple numbers, small numbers in various community, but these small numbers. But those who are expecting lot of political capital out of this caste census, they are missing a point that it's the same number which we are expecting for creating a homogeneous vote bank that can also fragment them, and that can maybe create dilute your hope through which you are expecting from the caste census. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, now I want to get a word in from Pradeep. Pradeep Gupta, what we've seen in this debate suggests very clearly that while those who are commenting on India Today TV or watching India Today TV may have a different view and they may find the idea of reservation or benefits being given basis your economic status very alluring, for those who are the actual beneficiaries, caste is what they want to be factored because that benefits them and nobody wants to give up on any benefit that they have. From here, going forward to the 2024 elections, you were saying everybody's arranging their pieces on the chessboard. How do you see the pieces move when it comes to the caste census? We've seen BJP allies also demanding this. Oftentimes the BJP is very practical. When they see that there's a lot of demand or clamor behind some idea, they quickly back it and change their original point of view. Are they likely to do that, or will Prime Minister Modi, Amit Shah and the BJP want to hold out on this? Pradeep Gupta, what's your reading?
See, Rahul, I'll tell you once again that it is very impractical to implement these findings based on caste. Again, I am saying we go and meet the people. The 67% vote cast in last general election, I know for sure 80% of those 67% vote cast in 19 election belongs to rural and poor. They live less than $150 a month. 15,000 से कम की उनकी income है, and they need lots of government support, and their livelihood is largely depend on the government of the day. There is not a single % doubt on that. But when we are discussing and sitting here, the important is कि उनको उस हाशिए से ऊपर कैसे लेके आया जाए. And for that matter, the most practical approach would be आर्थिक तरीके से उनका आकलन करके. केसी जी ने बिल्कुल कहा, सही कहा उस बारे में कि जो आर्थिक तरीके के सर्वे में आंकड़े आए उसके आधार पर उसको इम्प्लीमेंट किया जा सकता है, उसकी नीतियां बनाई जा सकती है। नीति बनाना केवल 15% है, 85% इज एग्जीक्यूशन, एंड दैट इज व्हाट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट। एंड आई थिंक बीजेपी इज ऑल्सो by and large to this idea, because whoever is in government, they have to. Mamata Banerjee is not openly supporting the caste census. Why? The same thing.
Okay, I'm out of time. I could go on for another full hour on this issue. We'll be nowhere close to resolution. As the elections approach, there will be moves, there will be counter moves, and every voter, every community, every bloc will make their own decision on what they think works. The arguments for and the arguments against are both equally strong. They will battle it out in the state of war, and then ultimately it's the Indian voter who will choose. We've been able to touch upon different aspects of this very important debate, and for that I thank my guests who brought the wealth of their insights to this argument. I'm slipping into a break. When we come back, we look at the raids against different journalists associated with the portal NewsClick. Details coming up on the other side. Stay with us. Back in a moment.
You are watching India Today. Powered by Finest, Be Sustainable Change, a BNP Group company.
Colors by Cola makes you wish everything was as vibrant.